is that I don't know if we should feel better or worse, given what happened on Thursday Night Football. One of the things too is, and I'm not going to make Cynthia talk about this, but if Caleb Williams had the game that Jaden Daniels had on Thursday night, oh my gosh, all the hot take artists would be out. Everybody would be talking about how he was a bust, how he was no good, anything like that. And so on NFL Fantasy Live, which you'll see over the weekend or now or whenever, I was like, well, listen, like maybe, and I know this is utterly ridiculous, and I will tell the audience here, is that I compared him to Tim Tebow. I'm like, Tim Tebow won a playoff game. Tim Tebow was great. Tim Tebow scored a lot of fantasy points, and it will show you how preposterous it is to go out there and make those kind of statements. But at the same time, like, hey, look, these good quarterbacks can go out there and have bad games. They can have bad situations. How concerned should we be? Well, we're going to talk to our guests about it. So, Shane, let's go ahead and start the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Adam Rank.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
The sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome to the weekend edition of the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank, and it is going to be a great show today because I am joined by one of my favorite people, not just in the NFL Network. I'm talking about one of my favorite people of all time. So without further ado, let's not make her wait because she's got things to do. She's got better things to do than to be on this lousy show. So let's bring on Cynthia Frelund of the NFL Network. And wait, what is the new podcast? I didn't want to get the credit wrong, but what is the new podcast you've been working on?
So it's called NFL IQ, and it's in conjunction with my Numbers Game Situation podcast. It's now available on audio formats too. So I guess technically that makes it a podcast, not just a video podcast. None of these words make any sense, right. But they're both available both on YouTube and on any platform that you get your audio podcasts.
All right. Well, it's I've seen it. I've been watching some of the stuff that pops up from time to time, trying to make myself smarter. I'm also trying to make myself feel better because both of our teams are 0-1. How concerned should we be? Are we in full panic mode? Are we? Is it over? The Packers are 2-0. Is our season over?
It's over. The whole season's over.
Is that right? That's what I hope not.
Look, there's things to be cleaned up. It's a long season. Ask the Commanders after last night when you saw. I mean, their attrition, they're already getting injured left and right. You know, they harped on the broadcast at the oldest team in the NFL. Well, then they had all these injuries. So it kind of came true. I blame it was the broadcasting curse. But yeah, right. But it's a long season. It's only one game for our teams, 2 games for 2 teams. And there's a lot more football left to be played. So no panic button yet. Although we could hit the panic button and break more furniture.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. For anybody who is unaware, our NFL Fantasy Live team, we got a note from the network saying, stop breaking the furniture. Patrick and I, panic or patience? Is that a Monday thing?
Yeah.
Or is that a two? Okay. So it is our show. Okay. So you're on that email, obviously. I didn't know if he sent it to everybody, but Patrick and I get a little loose in the chairs, and I'm actually shocked that my chair hasn't fully collapsed underneath me. It's one of the things we're leaning back like, I don't know. They want us to be animated. It's fun, too, because Monday is the only show that's live. The other ones are taped, which was excruciatingly obvious today. We had this – nobody cares about this. But we had this situation where Michael F. Florio, we had like, I don't know, a minute left in show. He took the entire final minute of the show. Like just – they're like rap. Like, okay, we got to go. Like that was it. And I thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, put it in the can. Let's go. They made us redo it, which ruins the energy, but still one of those things. Speaking of the energy, though, how did you feel about the Lions early on? You're talking about some things to clean up. Is this like, hey, the Packers are the greatest team who ever lived? Or was this like, hey, the Lions also have a bunch of new coordinators who are trying to get their footing together.
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I mean, I think the Packers are considerably better. I thought their defense was very good before adding Micah Parsons. I mean, Jeff Hafley and those simulated pressures last year to kind of get some of these guys who had maybe underperformed given where they were drafted. You know, he got pressure by simulating it. It was great. So they did it the second most often, in case you're keeping track at home. But I'm looking at that game, and the thing that was the most probably problematic for me was the fact that on over 70% of rushing snaps, the Packers stopped the Lions at or before the first contact was made at or behind the line of scrimmage. That's the most in the Dan Campbell era. And it's a big problem because that's how that offense runs, is through the run game. And that's actually kind of the same thing that didn't work for the Bears. DeAndre Swift could not get that push, you know, and without that, then what we saw from that was Caleb wasn't able to execute. They weren't able to use play action as often. And those are kind of some of the fundamentals and the bread and butter of what the offense that Ben Johnson likes to run is all about. And so when it doesn't work for the team that used it all last year and that doesn't work for the new team, like it's hard to kind of get to right size things after that.
How concerning was the Lions offensive line? Obviously the retirement of Frank Ragnow left a pretty big hole there, but was it worse than you thought it was going to be, or is it just something you think like, well, first week and we'll move on from there?
Well, the first thing that was the one bright spot of the Lions game was that on the 8 attempts that Jared Goff had on downfield passes, so 10 plus air yard passes, he completed 5 of those. That was, and a touchdown. His touchdown was on a deep pass as well. So there were some signs that when it worked, but when they couldn't figure it out, it was really bad, right? So yeah. They have to figure out a few of those plays where the run game makes it so it's not 3rd and 8, because, you know, Jared Goff's mobility is not his strength. So, I mean, I didn't like it. It wasn't fun. I hate losing the Packers. Nobody likes the Packers if you're a team fan. Like, everyone hates the Pack. It's Packers and whatever. But, you know, so I didn't like that. But I also was like, all right, this game is like, they need to hit the reset button, start again, and let's see. Because the defense had no push either. Aiden Hutchinson had 2 pressures. Like there just was a lot of things to clean up on both sides of the ball.
Were they slow playing it, knowing that they have Ben Johnson coming into town on week 2? That's
right. That was a trap game. You know, they were just focused on the Bears. They knew trap game was coming. I honestly think a lot of it had to do with there was a lot of hype around Micah Parsons coming to the Packers. And I think a lot of what the Lions were trying to figure out with their new coordinators, I just don't think they have, you forget about things like in the headset, the communication, and when that turns off. You know, when you have a new coordinator, they've never been the last person to communicate on the headset before, unless they've been a coordinator before, Johnny Morton, whatever. But, you know, even stuff like that, those are all cadences you don't really get in preseason. So those are the types of things, especially with the defense, like when A doesn't work and B doesn't work, you need to still have C, D, E, F, G, see the Bills for that, right? Like they just didn't have any answers when things stopped working.
Yeah, that's a big problem. They say one of the things too, like, can you simulate that in preseason? Because you hear about it, a lot of Bears fans were upset the starters didn't play in the first game, and I don't know what the situation was like for Detroit, but is this one of those things like, yeah, maybe you should take preseason a little bit more serious, because then these problems wouldn't happen?
So then you have so here you got there's always a problem, right? Like you need to evaluate who's on your team. So getting to all 53 is your number one goal. So as much as it'd be nice to be able to work on every single thing, getting that 1 to 53 is probably your most immediate need. So I would argue, I just don't know if you're going to get into a situation where you're going to be able to go through those types of, in game, what's the defense going to show us? What are they not? Even, I actually think some of those joint practices are actually a little bit better for that, not for the timing in the headset necessarily, but for being able to see things you're not used to seeing, because what your offense is going to do if you're a defense, what your defense is going to do if you're an offense. You can't not know it. So I do think getting all 53 right is the smart thing to be focused on. But these details, sometimes, we saw it with those Patriots years. Remember in September, all of the data on the Patriots when Bill Belichick was there with Tom Brady, same quarterback forever, in September just throw out everything that happened, because in October is a completely different team. So there's just, it's part of the NFL season. I don't know if there's any way to really fix it except for create more continuity between player and coach. That's part of why you see Joe Brady having success talking to Josh Allen earlier on in the season. There's nothing you can do when your coordinators leave, though.
It didn't help the Ravens from choking and blowing their lead. What did you think on Monday night? You're sitting there, the Bears are up 17-6. You had to be pretty morose, being like, oh no, this is going to work, isn't it? And then the game ended the way it did. Were you all of a sudden laughing maniacally, hysterically?
No, I picked the Bears. I was mad. I picked the Bears. There was a difference between going 12-4 and 11-5. Come on, I want to win. So I was just a little shocked. Like, that first drive was what I expected to see. Maybe not every drive, but I expected to see like the scripted. I'm sure your fans already know this, but the first 15 to 20 plays, the coach scripts that out, so they know what they're going to call, right? For the most part. And then maybe what I thought would happen was the beginning of the second half, we'd see some version of that as well. I thought that they'd get back on track a little bit faster than the last, when they were playing prevent defense at the end, to almost whatever. But I was shocked to see that the chemistry didn't work. Like, I thought it was going to look like what that first drive looked like a lot more often in that game. And that's what was more surprising to me than kind of anything else.
Do you think it was a coach coaching in his first game, having a little bit of jitters, like not having, a lot of that stuff you can't really anticipate till you go out there and experience it. Was it something like that?
I mean, sure. I also think, like, when you have we know that Brian Flores, he always is going to blitz you, and he's always going to make you have to think about, like, when they talk about like leverage, right? Like, be ahead of the snap, the picture could look like zone, and then they're actually playing man, or they're moving people around, and it's the picture before you start the play and the picture once the play is start can be completely different. And Brian Flores is a high leverage guy. He makes very risky moves that can either pay off or not. And I think part of it is that when you have some, I'm going to use the word bad habits, meaning you don't have those bag of tricks yet established. I think Caleb had a rough year last year. He's under a lot of pressure, hence why the coach is no longer there, right? So when you don't have those go-to, I sometimes I think about, the swing pass from old Patriots days. I don't know why I'm so on the Patriots today, but,
it's a good organization to draw from.
Right. But the point is when you don't have those, this one's going to work no matter what, and then the picture starts to shift, I think the whole thing can get real fast. And I think it will slow down for Caleb. But unfortunately, that's not a good, and also Brian Flores comes from that Patriots lineage. So that's part of those things where it's like, okay, this is how we can spin rookies around, and let's call him a rookie still, because, that last year was, let's just have a reset there. Right. I just think that's a hard defense to figure out for veterans, let alone a guy who's been under constant pressure and duress last season and maybe has some bad habits to get out of the system.
Yeah. And as bad as it was for Caleb Williams, I will note that his fantasy performance was actually pretty good. He had scored more fantasy points than JJ McCarthy and a lot of quarterbacks. As a matter of fact, speaking of fantasy, you can win your fantasy league or you can rule it. We're talking about Crowned Champs. That's right. Crowned Champs dropped the hottest thing fantasy's ever seen, a real handcrafted premium championship crown. It's just $2.99 a month per person. Rack up points, win weekly challenges, get voted as king or queen, trash talker, and unlock real life merch. Go to crownchampscompany.com. That's crownchampscompany.com. Don't just win your fantasy league, rule it. And speaking of ruling things, I thought Ben Johnson was ruling the press conference today. If I can roll, or the Friday, whenever you were listening to this. Shane, do we have the sound? Because my friend Brendan Shaguru was like, this might be our on to Cincinnati moment. Let's go ahead and roll that clip from Ben Johnson.
Ask about the end game kickoff thing one more time.
Man, can we go on to the next game? I'm still on the...
With the new rules, when it doesn't land in the landing zone, it's a dead ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So theoretically, could you have just kicked it anywhere, just
short,
the 20 and the clock would have stopped? Was that considered at all?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
And
Listen, last time I'm going to bring up last game, okay?
Yeah.
I got greedy, and I wanted the extra 5 yards. That's why we tried to kick it out of the back of the end zone. Simple as that, okay?
And with
Do you love that, or does it seem like a coach that's now gripping way too hard?
No, I love it. I give him a lot of credit. Sometimes people forget because we hear sound bites a lot. They're asked the same question so many freaking times. I don't know if I would have the grace to handle it with the calmness that you know, when you watch it just once, you don't realize he's been asked that same question. Why is this reporter thinking so much about, by the way, the precision to land a ball 5 yards and ends up like, of course everyone would take that if it were available to them on every play. Of course, if you could make sure that happens, you would. But I actually think he had a lot of grace there. He's like, guys, this is the last time. He was very, I would have been like, shut the bleep up at this point. Like, it's just over and over again. Same question.
Yeah. It's like asking somebody you're playing golf with, be like, hey, did you mean to land it in the water? Like, were you aiming there? Like, did you know you could have hit it on the green? And like, after the 8th time, I don't need to hear it. Like, we get it. Yeah, I understand. And I feel like, and this is one of the things that I found really refreshing about Ben Johnson, is he was holding himself accountable. He did not, because like we were talking about this, and I don't mean to make fun of your friend Matt, but which Matt it is, we'll see. But like Matt Nagy would have been like, hey, you know what? We're still trying to figure out the whys, trying to figure out. That was his great quote. It was always like figuring out the whys. Eberflus would just be like, I don't know. Wasn't me. Like Eberflus sometimes, and I like Matt. I like both Matts. They're wonderful people. But they always had this like evasiveness of like, it wasn't me. Like it almost seemed like Matt Eberflus at times was the guy being questioned in a mob movie. Like, hey, who robbed his truck? You're like, it wasn't me. Like, I don't know. Don't ask me. And like that was it. That was all. He would never take accountability or anything like that. Other than be like, don't ask me. It's not my fault. Ben Johnson has done a really nice job going out there and owning everything. And there's a lot of ownership that needs to go around. Caleb Williams, I know you were talking about the scripting and everything like that. The third drive, they still went down there. They got into the scoring range. They should have kicked the field goal, should have taken the points. I think the hubris got the best of them. Is this the kind of stuff that Ben Johnson needs early on to just understand, like, hey, there's a lot to being an NFL head coach. It's not just simply, hey, you're the smartest guy in the room, I'm going to own this. Or is this just like happy we're going through it now so we can address it later on?
I also think it's like maybe he ran before he walked in terms of play calling, because you kind of get to those 4th down calls after. There we go. I'm back. You get to those 4th down calls. Some of the other things first, like Dan Campbell didn't come out there that first season of the rebuild in Detroit and ask them to convert every 4th down. So I think maybe that I don't know if he got greedy, but I think he's like, we can do this. He believes in his team. I think that's a good thing. But I also sometimes think you have to like walk before you can run and do those more risky situations. Yeah.
And again, I know I use way too many golf analogies, but it's one of those things like, hey, it's a 236-yard par 4. You could technically reach the green, but it's got to take a really good shot to get there. I would rather just take out the 9-iron, lay it up in front of the water, and go about that. I'm thinking about number 8 at Meadowlark. My friend Scott Winks, who listens to the show all the time, will know exactly the shots I'm talking about, because on holes 2 and 8 of this golf course, and you'll find out when we play together, it's like you could go for the green, but I lay up every time. And at that point, I really wish Ben Johnson had taken the layup right there. Although with Cairo Santos, nothing is ever considered a layup. But it is what it is. Let's look forward now. We've dissected enough. I'll take Ben's advice here. Stop looking forward. What are the things? What are the keys for both of these teams going into this game? What's the key for Detroit, and what's the key for Chicago to go out there and get a victory this week?
Well, I mean, listen, the key to the victory this week will be pressure. Whichever team can bring the pressure. It's really about disrupting the O-line. So, if the Lions can get some pressure, that will make things difficult. And of course, Ben Johnson's going to have some answers for it. But the question is can the run game get going? So to me, just a run game and pressure, which is not necessarily the sexiest answer because we all want to see deep touchdowns. Who doesn't want to see a 60-yard touchdown pass?
Right.
We all do. But realistically, it's whose run game is going to work and whose pressure is going to work.
What do you think? Obviously, because I'm selfish, because I do this, because I have a lot of fantasy shares of DeAndre Swift. He had over 84% of the snap share on Monday night, Do we think we see a lot more DeAndre Swift? Because that was one of the things where, Ben was talking about why didn't he run more? You're like, well, wait, I'm the one who's calling the plays. I guess that's up to me. I'm not saying the Bears will be able to do it, but do we expect that, when they come out in their scripted plays, first 15 and moving forward, that they're going to balance most of it on the running side of the football?
I mean, if they watch any of that film on the Packers, they will. I feel like there'll be a commitment to the run game that we maybe didn't see last game. That's even if it doesn't look sexy, like if it was 3 yards a clip, they're going to commit to it a little bit more because we talk about this commitment to the run game. A lot of that is just more to keep the defense from feeling like, all right, we know it's going to be 2nd and 10. They're going to pass the football because that's what they've been doing. A lot of it, it's kind of like bluffing in poker, right? You have to keep people off balance. And Ben Johnson did that masterfully when he was the Lions offensive coordinator. Obviously, it helps to have a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, who's pretty elite at what he does. Same thing with David Montgomery being there. But I don't think DeAndre Swift cannot do that. I just think they have to get him in situations where it works out well and maybe keep him around the interior of the O-line. Don't kick him out wide.
For years, I've been praying for the Bears to get a running back the caliber of David Montgomery. I really wish I knew what it was like to have a running back like David Montgomery. Because I will tell you this, if I had a running back like David Montgomery, I would never let him go. I would never, ever let him go. But I mean, how do you get a player like that? It's virtually impossible. They don't just suddenly become available in free agency. So there's never, it's a dream at this point to go out there and get a player like David Montgomery. So I don't know how you never, do you cherish him? Do you take care of him? No, you do. All right. So
I do.
I know you do. Detroit has really done a nice job of embracing David Montgomery. And that's why I can never say anything bad about him. I can never hate on him. I will never hate him. If he went to Green, I think I've told him this too. I'm like, if you go to Green Bay, I will not like you. The support will stop. And he told me never. I'm like, okay, fine. You're good. So game day preview is
until they pay him enough, and then he'll do it.
No, I don't think so. I think him like Matt Forte. I think guys like that have too many scruples. They're never going to do that. Julius Peppers doesn't care. He wasn't a real Bear anyways. He was a Panther as far as I'm concerned. But
also a basketball player,
Oh, he was?
College,
Was he the only? He was the only guy who ever played basketball and then went to the NFL, though, right? Because there was nobody else who did that.
Never
been done. Also, a couple of things that people don't understand. There's never been a player who played basketball and then became an NFL star, and there's ever been an Ivy League quarterback in the NFL. Never happened.
Never. It doesn't happen ever.
It never happens. So Game Day View is the show that you're on, which for whatever reason, that's why you don't get to be on it with us on Fridays on the NFL Fantasy Live. Although I will pitch this, at some point, can we just do a swap where Rosenthal can be on Fantasy Live and I'll do Game Day Preview? Was it Game Day View?
Yeah.
Let's make that happen.
We love that. I also don't understand why you can't just come on it as well. I mean, it's really, we don't tape at the same time. It's not the same thing. I don't know. I'm mad I missed whatever Florio was saying today on fantasy because I'm sure my favorite is your reaction to him. Hands down the best thing in TV. Hands down the best thing on TV ever.
I can't sometimes. It's just too much. And then I got to stop because it comes off as mean because it's all the time. And you're like, oh my gosh, this child comes in and just starts talking. You're like, okay. I don't know. I will say today we were talking about, who was it? It was a Jaden Daniels because everybody backed down. I thought I'd be challenged on my Jaden Daniels stuff, but nobody was like, okay, maybe you're right. I'm like, cowards, stand up to me. Jaden Daniels is fine. He's not Tim Tebow. He's a little bit better than Tim Tebow. Not much, but still a little bit. But But it's just one of those things. It was hilarious, though. I wish, but you know what? That take was cut out of the show, so you won't get to see the reaction to that. Martin New thing is actually going after Kendall, because Kendall, who's our researcher on that show, will weirdly understand a reference that you would have thought he'd have no idea. Like I dropped an Austin
He's
Powers.
super young.
Yeah, he's a child. He's literally a child. He's like 22. And so he gets some of these references like an Austin Powers reference or anything like that, as we're losing the audience right now. But what I was going to say on Game Day View, you picked the games, you picked the Lions, you picked the Bears. You had to pick this game. What was your prediction for this game? What is the final score? I know that you don't like to give these things away for free, but for our audience,
for you, anything. I think I have a touchdown win for the Lions at home. I think it's something like
7 points. I don't know much about gambling.
Missing some pieces on defense. It's not my fault Kyler Gordon's not playing. It's not my fault.
Jalen Johnson's playing.
It's not my fault you're missing. It's not my fault. You're like, it's missing. I don't know. I just do the math. I picked the Bears last week.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. So maybe we'll all be like, thanks, Cynthia. We'll send you a cake shake in case the Chicago Bears end up going out there and winning that one for Patillas. But listen, I know you're very busy. You got stuff to do today.
I need a haircut.
I wasn't going to say, listen, I never want to say, especially when you're talking to somebody, when you're talking to, never want to say.
I don't care. I don't have any secrets like that. I get 2 haircuts a year.
I didn't want to blow up your business like that. She's going to get a haircut. But
I don't care. My business is, I put it out there. I don't care. It's a haircut.
I don't know. Listen, we work with a lot of people, and some people are sensitive about certain things. I feel like you and I, like, we're open books, like whatever, like I don't care. Like I was getting my what was the thing with the probe with the colonoscopy? I'm like, mic me up and put me on the show that day. I will not miss the show. I don't care. Who knows what I'm going to say? I am that open book, and I know that you are. I just want to make sure. I don't want to blow up your spot. Yeah, you know what? Secret, everybody. Cynthia gets her haircut. But listen, I just wanted to let everybody know that you dropped everything to be here, and we really appreciate it. We really appreciate you coming on. You are one of the hardest working people that I know.
Anything
You're
for you,
awesome.
I got to send you the cutest photo. I have to send you the cutest photo from my wedding of you and I. It's like a nice hug. So the photographer got this great photo. I just looked through all of them. So I got to send it to you. It's really cute. It was so nice of you to make it.
I can't wait. It was a tremendous afternoon, a tremendous occasion. It was great to see your parents and all that stuff. And what a wonderful day.
I appreciated that you told me that Kyle outvowed me.
Oh, you know what? So everybody, you can listen. I know this is a little personal, but people love you. So Kyle, her husband, Kyle. So I can say the officiant in this wedding is Michael Irvin. And this is how I described it. It was the perfect amount of Irv. Like, Michael Irvin is a great person and he's a wonderful man.
Yes.
And honestly, if he wanted to make that wedding the Michael Irvin show, there is nothing anybody in the world could have done to stop it. But he gave us enough Irv without overshadowing everything. So he goes up and Irvin's doing his thing. Cynthia, obviously, you know her. She's great. Kyle, who has no broadcast training, hilarious, well-spoken, just knocked it out of the park. And it's one of those things that I like, and it's not like you're grading on a curve, but you are. He was amazing.
Sure.
So it was what a wonderful day that was. So I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of that great celebration. As much as we thank you for being here, giving us all the insight and doing all the great work that you do.
We'll be texting you during the game. Don't you worry.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. We'll have to get you back down to Rip Beer Company to go out there and watch that game. By the way, though, but I will say, I'm in California. If you're in Chicago, don't leave because I need you to be a part of this too. If you are in Chicago, where are you watching the game this weekend? You have to be at Twisted Shamrock, one of the great bars in the greater Chicagoland area. It's a place for real Chicago sports fans, talking about Bears, Bulls, Hawks, Cubs, Sox, and you need to be watching the games there because they got monster TVs where they got a private room, They got the bar. They got an epic patio. This is the thing. It's still patio season in Chicago. So if you want to go take
prime patio season.
Oh, it's the best time. It's the best time to be watching games outdoors. They've got drink specials. They got buckets. They got great fans. Like it's a great hang. Like it really is like things that make bars are the people and the people who work there. One of the best staffs all the way around to the bartenders. I will tell you this, the best old fashioned in the greater Chicagoland area. It is so awesome. Twisted Shamrock. Next time you're in Chicago, that's my first stop. My plane will land at Midway, and I'm gonna take. If somebody's not picking, I'll walk there because I'm a crazy person. I love walking. I'll walk. I don't care.
There this weekend.
You would. Oh yeah, they're good people. They're not gonna. Really? Are you kidding me? You would be a celebrity there. They would welcome you with open arms. So make sure
if I wore my baby Megatron.
You know that once they realize who it is, I think everything would be fine. But listen, so Twisted Shamrock this weekend, everybody go there, go check it out. Tell them Adam Rank sent you. Please do. Then we appreciate their great sponsorship. So we're going to wrap this up. Thanks everybody for being here. We really appreciate your time. For Cynthia, we appreciate it. For Cynthia, I'm Adam, and Shane, just go ahead and play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.